if there are any. Okay, so as I said, if there is any specific question that you have on this interview question, we can discuss about it as well. So let me start sharing my session. And here we go. So please be attentive on your chat. I am probably going to need your answers, like what are your thoughts and like answer suggestions on the specific questions. So it is going to be a theory as well as practical question. There will be a couple of questions that are frequently asked during the interviews in variety of different companies. So KPMG, Accenture. So there are other companies, and whatever the frequently asked questions are there. So I have collected those. Um, so let's start and begin this session here. So that is the only agenda for today. We are just going to discuss about the doubts, discuss about the interviews, and that will be it. All right. So first of all, there are a couple of theory questions that most of the time people get asked. So even if you cannot answer it entirely, but try accessing, try answering it somehow at certain level. At least give me the keywords like how you are going to solve it or what will be the answer for it. Okay. First question for you is what is merge and append queries? What do you understand by the term called as merge and append with Power BI Desktop? How will you define it if this question is asked? I know there are limited people today. If you can answer it and if you are like available on cell phone or even on laptop, try you can unmute yourself as well, like if you want. Right, Sagar. Merging is adding column and append is adding rows to your existing queries. What is the constraint or what is the requirement when you want to do merging and appending? Anybody else? What is the condition needs to be there? What condition that you need to follow if you want to do the merging or appending between the tables? Yes, sir.
Sequence of the columns should be same in appending.
Sequence nahi, it is already if the sequence is also not good, but at least number of columns and the name of the columns needs to be same. Okay. That is the condition for append. And if you are talking about the merge concept here, then we need a common column between the two tables. Merge can only happen between the two tables at a time. Append can have append is possible with two and more than two tables as well. So if I try to write it down here, merge and append question. So first of all, merge is to, as you have mentioned, I'm just going to copy paste that. So this is the correct statement. Condition wise, merge requires the common column between the tables, and it is possible between two tables at a time. On the other hand, append combines the table on the basis of um, number of columns and name of columns. So naming is required even if the sequence is alright, even if it is having even if it is not in a correct sequence. We can append multiple columns at a time, multiple tables at a time. Even if number of columns are not same, we get null now. Correct. So if the number of columns are not same, if one column is 9, like in one table it is 9 column, in other table it is 10. So whatever the one column which is different, so in that column there will be all null. There will be only the data from one table and the other table will be presented as a null. That is right. Next question is, what is the difference between star schema and snowflake schema? How will you answer it? When about star schema and snowflake schema is asked, in star schema, dimensions are not directly connected to each other. Dimensions are not directly connected. Okay, okay, right. Are again connected to other sub dimensions. Correct. So star schema is a preferred schema in which fact tables are directly connected with dimension tables, and no dimension tables are connected to each other. Snowflake schema, all dimension tables are linked to a single fact table. Correct. Snowflake schema connects to the fact table. Snowflake schema dimension table connects to the fact table. And also some dimension table dimension table connects to other sub dimension table. So the extended star schema. I will correct these spellings afterwards. So star schema and snowflake schema is not that difficult, but still asking this question is very common. Like even if you are having a freshers interview or even with the experience interview. What are the data connectors available in Power BI? So question is about data connectors, or what do we call it again? Or storage mode, or data connectivity. What are the data connectors, and what will be the examples? That is correct. It is import mode, direct query mode. There is a dual mode, that is composite. And there is one more that in general, in our regular lectures, I have not talked about. So the fourth one that we call it as live connection. So import mode, what happens? When you get the entire copy of your source data to your Power BI desktop. It increases the file size, but you will be able to do all the, you will able to utilize all the features. we're utilizing all the features. All the features in PBM. Example is file-based sources like Excel, text CSV, SharePoint, web, that many. Direct query, on the other hand, when you directly connects to the source as a link and there is no importing of data and there is no copying of data, that's our direct query mode. It requires a very good internet connection. Good internet connection, because on that basis, the speed of our report depends. Direct query examples are databases like Azure SQL database, SQL Server, etc. Whatever the databases that you go through, relational databases, correct. It is not MySQL. MySQL doesn't have that option. But other than that, whichever is MongoDB, Cosmos, whatever they are available online, and you can access it from other internet connections, suppose, where you get the credentials, where you get the server name, and it is like somewhat heavier to use, suppose. So those platforms are used as a direct query mode. No, with MySQL, there is no possibility of direct query. Only import mode is the option. When you try opening the MySQL में, so there will be only import mode, no direct query in that case. But बाकी SQL databases के साथ there are options. Like everywhere you will see direct query and import, both of the options will be shown. How do you want to take? Once you, there is one very specific thing. If you take the data as an import mode, it is going to show as an import mode. Like your data will be all data will have the like copy of your data will be in your Power BI desktop. But if you are starting with the direct query and somehow you changes your direct query to import mode somewhere during the project, even if you do it one time, like you change the direct query to import mode somehow, and then again you take it back to the direct query mode, so that moment will be captured in your Power BI desktop. Like you will get the copy of your data in your system, and that is non-reversible. So that's why if you are working with the company projects and at a very split moment you did that, like where you have changed the direct query to import and then again import to direct query back. So it means that your data is now in your Power BI desktop only. You cannot reverse that situation. Even if after that point of time, the data will come as a direct query only, but till that moment, when you clicked and converted to the import, till that moment, it will be all there in your system. So it is like very important, like when you are working with import and direct query mode, you have to be very specific which table, which connections you are using. Dual mode, it is a combination of import and direct query. Examples can be anything. You can use it at like combination of both, as I said, so it can be at both the levels. Live connection, when you get the live data coming in your system. Correct. Example is correct. SSAS, that is SQL. It is not SQL Server. What do we call it? Analytic services. It is basically analytical services. And that is the only platform, I guess, for live connection that you can directly connect. Data flow hota hai online level of Power Query Editor. So if you have the Power Query Editor in your system, so whatever we have learned in Power Query Editor, so the exact internet or online form of it, that is your data flow generation tool. Okay. So you can directly connect with your analytical services to your data flow, which will be online. And online means it will be on Power BI service. There you can connect to this online live data, that is analytical services. So yes, it will be connected to the live data. What is the sync slicer? How will you incorporate it if you have multiple pages, and how will you filter the data? So what do you understand by the term sync slicer? It is sync slicer and edit interaction. These are the two questions that I have seen people got asked. Yes. So it is sync slicer as the word suggests. It is just syncing the slicer with others. Sync means like keeping it all on the same page, like all on the same page at the like you want to sync. If one slicer is applied on one page, the same slicer can also be visible as well as get applied on other pages as well. So it is to sync the slicers on multiple pages at the same time. If you have applied a certain slicer on one page, you can make it visible as well as sync on other pages. So that if you change or select the value at one place, value at one slicer, it will be applied on multiple. So basically question is that much only. The remaining part of it just to confuse you probably, or just to give you like extra thought to put for this question. So how will you incorporate it if you have multiple pages, and how will you filter a data? So that's what we have talked about basically. So what if you explain the sync slicer? So that's how it is going to get solved automatically. What is RLS? Explain it in detail, and how will you achieve it? So this was a question somebody got asked about in recent interview, and actually that was the interview for HSBC. I don't remember the role name, but she said like she got asked about this question about RLS. Like, tell me the overall steps, like what all the things that you will have to perform to do the RLS in this case. Okay. Like if you want to implement RLS in your report, so what are all the steps that you have to follow? That's what the question was about. So what do you remember about RLS? What all the things that you think we have to apply? Okay, that will be the definition, Sagar. We have to restrict the data for a particular user, uh, or we can create the roles as per the users, also to restrict the data according to their role. Okay, that will be your definition. But if somebody asks you to create the RLS, to create this overall setup in your report, so what all the steps you are going to follow? Like what you are going to do? Like what are the steps that we need to use RLS in your report? Correct. Manager role is the first place where we have to click on a role. We have to click on a table, and we have to give the condition. Condition as in that role is capable of doing what with the data. You have created the role. What will be the next step? Then create restriction for each role. Right. So once your roles are created, basically, after that portion, you are supposed to view the role as a particular role. Like if you have created the role as a region head, so you are supposed to check it, you are supposed to rehearse it. Like if what you are expecting, are you getting the same result as per the roles or not? So first cross check. After doing that, you can finish up with the project, you can finish up with the report, and you can publish your report to your Power BI service. Once it is in Power BI service, there you have to there you have to assign emails as per the role. So that you do under security section of your semantic model. So this question was asked, and the person was not knowing about, like she was one of my friend actually. She didn't know about this answer, and she started talking about creating a DAX online and adding some calculation and whatnot. So she said like that was one of the biggest low point during that interview, because that was the last question, and when I started talking about DAX and creating the calculation and stuff, so it didn't end well as per the as per the interview for her. So at least high level, even if it is high level, still that is okay. But at least try to give the correct path or correct steps, like what you have to do. RLS is your row level security. We get to restrict the data on the basis of roles and what that role is supposed to see on the report. Row level, ROW. Row level security is because each row gets like it tries to qualify each and every row as per the restrictions or condition that we have created. Even if we create the role, but row wise, each and every row gets qualified. Each and every row gets checked, like if it is supposed to be visible to the next person or not. So it is like high security terms. Okay. First, what do? We create the roles using table and condition from manage roles. Next, we check the working of role by using view as feature. Third, we finish up the report and publish it. Fourth, on Power BI service, under semantic model of the table, semantic model of the report, select security and assign the email ID as per the email ID as per the role we created. These are the steps that we have to follow. If somebody is asking you about RLS, like what is the row level security? So anything about the constraint, anything about like limiting the data or creating the roles, restricting the data as per the user, anything related to security, if somebody asks. So even if they will not ask you directly, like they will not tell you ki RLS ko batao, but they will say some words like this, and you have to understand that they are going to talk about RLS next. Okay, what is drill through concept in Power BI? What do you understand by the drill through? Drill through, there is a drill up, there is a drill down. there is also a drill through. Right. So to get the more detailed view of your selected data point, we can use drill through. Here we can jump from one page, and we have to jump from one page to other. Like there is no possibility of having drill through like the source image, source chart and the destination chart on the same page. You cannot have that scenario. You have to have your one chart on your source page, and you have to jump to the destination page on some other location. So you cannot at all do it, because if you try to remember about drill through, we have to add a field on a destination page, like which common field is there, like which data point you need to go in a more detail about. And even if you don't give it, and if you give it, it is going to create that return page and that return icon, like you have how you can go to the next page or the previous page, etc. So you need to have two different pages. So to get the more um, detailed view of your selected data point, we can use drill through. Here we can jump from one page to other page on the basis of specific data point. And it can use we can use any chart for this. There is no restriction. It is not like I gave you the example of table, so we have to use table. There is no saying in that. You can use table, you can use bar chart, pie chart, any other chart as well. There is no restriction with different Visual Studio. But there's supposed to be two charts. One page from where you are going to start, next page where you are going to end. Next question is, explain that in detail about the decomposition tree chart with proper example. How and where do you think your decomposition tree will be used? Yes. Decomposition tree. So this is one of the AI visual basically. About decomposition tree, it is one of the AI visual. We can expand and elaborate the specific measure or specific metric, I can call it. Metric means number, like what numbers you are talking about your business, like revenue, sales, profit. These are the numbers that you want to elaborate, suppose. Elaborate the specific metric like revenue, cost, profit. We can expand and elaborate the specific metric to get in more detail about its high value and low value as per its about its high value and the low value as high value as level. We can select multiple fields to understand how these numbers are divided. We can select multiple fields to understand how we can um, how you can understand. Sorry, we can select multiple fields to understand how you can use the specific metric. It lets you visualize the data across different dimensions. Right. That is also the very good statement. So the example will be understanding the metric at a different dimension, as you have said already. Understand the metric at different with a different dimension. A different dimension, like country to state to city for suppose population. Question number 9, explain about the types of DAX function in Power BI and tell me about the time intelligence function. So it is a very generic question, like there can be like multiple things that you can explain under the DAX, but you can start with the purpose of DAX and what other different types that by which you can create the DAX formula, that is calculated column as well as the measure. And you can give the high level idea about the different DAX functions that we have seen. So for example, aggregate function, date and time function, logical function. Okay. And at the end, when they are asking about the time intelligence function, it means you have to give the example and specific, uh, like specific explanation about time intelligence only. Like why do we need, or what are the functions under time intelligence? So DAX, it is a data analysis expression, which is a formula language for the Power BI desktop. I'm specifically writing Power BI desktop, not Power Query editor, because DAX is not used at Power Query editor. Power Query editor will only have Power Query editor only will have M query. So after writing it down, DAX query, you can use DAX as a calculated column or measure. Third, what are the different types? So they are aggregate, logical. Even if you give high level couple of, but always mention your DAX function. Like if this is the question asked, you cannot start talking about the function that you have not understood in the past. Just you have heard of it sometime in the past and you are using it. So it is going to backfire. They will start grilling you about that particular function जो तुम्हें नहीं पता है. So you probably start talking about parent-child function, जो हमने देखा नहीं है कभी, and it is not that widely used also. But तुमने वो line बोल दी, and they are going to start asking question about the same concept. You ठीक है, what is parent-child relation, parent-child functions now. So इसलिए always try to say the words that you know, like if they try talking about it, so you will able to explain that as well. So don't talk about anything that you don't know. So date and time, correct. Iterator, there are filter functions also. Calculate is one of the filter function. There is a table manipulation functions also, etc. Time intelligence functions are when you want to get the answers over the period of time. Examples, same period, last year, total YTD, dates add, date add. What are more time intelligence function that we have seen? Parallel period, I guess. And that's all I can. Dates in between. This is also the one. This is also a good one. Dates in between. You can actually calculate dates in between. Like you can also calculate the 3 month of moving average by using dates in between. So 3 month of moving average means 3 months of moving average means, like if you are having a data from January to December. So first of all, it will show January's number, then February, Then January, February, March combined as an average, you can see the data in front of March. For February, March, and April, the average value. Then March, April, and May, the average value. So that's how it gets used. Related table, use relationship, right? But as I'm saying, Sagar, if you can explain about those functions further, then only try to write that. If you know ki you will not able to explain entirely, so it's better to like skip it, because they are not expecting all the functions. They are just expecting the knowledge, like the knowledge of it or the uses of it, if you have done it or not. The last question under theory is, if I have a table with date column, I want to calculate month-wise sales. How will you achieve and what will be your approach? So you are only having a date column at the moment. So on that basis, how will you find out or how will you create a chart as a month-wise sales with a single date column? How will you show the month-wise sales? By using format function, you can give the look to your month. Look as in the view, how the names are going to be visible. You just have to use month at the moment. So even with the simple month function, it is going to give you the number of like which number of month we are dealing with. And after that, if you use format, you can get the month's name, that is the name of the month. Right. So what can we do? So we can create or extract, as you said, extract the month column from the given date, use month function, and then format function to get a specific month name for the chart. Using line chart, suppose, because we are working over the period of time. So that means the line chart is what we are going to use. So using line chart, display month and sales value. So it is like specific and simple answer, like how you are going to solve the date column as well as the month by sales. So these are like very limited question. There are like n number of questions that I had, but out of those, whatever I felt like this will be important to talk about, because other questions are easy for you to get as an answer. For example, difference between aggregate and iterator. If they can call it as aggregator and iterator function ka difference, or they might ask you about sum and sum x ka difference. Okay, then there is a question about the difference between duplicate and reference. There will be the question about, suppose, how, uh, how the difference between DAX and mQuery happens. Where do you use what? Okay, so these are like these are also like specifically asked questions, but I think they could be, you guys could answer it already. So I will add those interview questions, like these are from KPMG and Accenture that I collected some time back. So you can check it out, like if you are capable of able to answer those questions or not, just in case. There are, I guess, 5 to 6 practical questions. Try to think of the approach, like how you are going to solve it. I was thinking of doing it as a practical. If you want, you can do it. Like I will not suggest you to do it right now because it will take a lot of time. But if after the session you get some time and you want to try solving it, so let's discuss about the approach here, and after that you can try solving it by yourself. So first question is how to convert the number into a date format. The number which we need to convert is 20240629. How will you convert this? So this is how your number column displays. Like for example, aaj ki date is 7/9/2024. So this number will be presented as, on our screen, it will be presented as 2024 0907. That's how we will see it for current date. If somebody asks you to convert this, so how will you do that? You can use any place, like it is not required to use DAX only. If you want, you can use Power Query Editor, DAX, you can, sorry, the DAX, mQuery, Power Query Editor, then you can also use SQL or Excel, wherever you find it easy for you to solve. At least give me the feature, like by using what you can get the answer. If you change the data type to the date, it will just make it, it will going to give error actually, because not error, I cannot say error, but it will be just a number. And even if you try to do it in Power Query Editor, it will be just a number. Any other approach? So there is specific function, there is a specific feature under your format. No, again, it will be just a number actually. So the function that I'm thinking about here is split by um, specific position. So there is a split by, there are like 6 ways how you can split the column. So I'm going to use here as a split by position. So if I know ki I need to split the column at 4th position, like starting it from, if I think about, okay, so there is this first position and there is this second position. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4th position, 5th and 6th. So there are 2 positions at those places I want to split the column. So position, split by position is one that you can use and get the result. And after that, after getting that result, you can just combine the column again. Okay. After that, combine the column by delimiter. So the way we have separated it, you just have to combine it by delimiter. That could be the answer for question number 1 here. First you split and after that you combine it. Okay. Yes, correct, Chandrima. So sorry that I forgot, but that is correct statement. You have to change the column data type to text, because if you keep it as a number, it will not give you the option to split only. So only if it is having a data type as a text, then only you will able to use both of these features. So that is one very good point to talk about here. First, you need to convert the column to text data type. Then we will get the option to split by column, split by position as well. Okay. Next question is, we have a name column in a table which contains first and last name. How we can get only the last name from the existing column to the DAX function. So this is, you can take it as a homework. I was supposed to do it in the class. You can try it out and we can check it suppose. But we have done it for the first name. Okay, in the class. I want to get the last name now. Okay, there is a Benjamin dash Smith suppose, or you can use the space also, Benjamin space Smith. How will you get the last name? If you try to solve it, give me the formula. Okay, give me share the formula with me, like what you have created for it. And it is not in an interview, but it was in a machine test. Uh, for certain companies before the actual technical interview, they also perform the machine test, and that machine test, they ask this type of a question to split the column and etc. And if you have done it for the first name basis, so creating it for the last name will also be easier for you. Right. Search function will be used, as well as there will be the function name right. So you are going to go from the rightmost position and inside. So let me give, so there will be about search function. There will be right. Also think about like what else that will be required. There will be len also, I guess. Length, no, not with the length, because we have to go from the past, from the last point to the inside. Okay, what are the possible ways of calculating division in DAX? If you want to do the division, what are the options? Divide is one. Next, by using operator, correct. Anything else? Function and operator wise, I guess that much is okay. There is also by using variable also you can calculate. Like you are going to use divide or operator only, but under variable also you can do this division. So you can create the variable a, variable b, and you are going to return the formula as a divided by b. So in that position also you can do this variable. You can do this division. It is not exactly an answer, but I'm just sharing that variable is also possibility or the place where you can do the division. Display the color only for the highest cells in visual through DAX function. So what do you think? How will you solve it to get the highest cell in the visual through DAX function? Only for the highest cell. Just try to give me the approach. And that highest cell will be dynamic. So if I select it for 24, it will be some other country. For 23, it will be for some other country. So how it is going to be specific to the particular country? Any attempt, any thought? Using enter data, we can enter the value, then using it as a filter, then we can scroll. Okay. So, see, what we are going to do here, it is going to be the conditional highest cell. Okay. So there is one option to work with, that is a top n function. So you can figure out what is your top n number, and you can get the max of cells, something in that way, and you can give the specific color. Like there are multiple ways to do it actually. So if you can use max of cells, and you give the number, suppose like for max of cell, if max of cell is this, give the color as green, remaining will be as it is. Like there will be only one condition to it. So only if the max of cell is rich or shown, then only it will give the specific color, remaining will be as it is. With conditional formatting also you can use it, but you need to know, in that case also you need to know like what will be the highest value. So to use the highest value, you can create the field first. So you remember field value, there was one type of conditional formatting feature, that is field value. So you can create a field value first where you are going to give the colors. Okay, like if your max value is rich, then give the green color, that will be it. And you can use the field value under the conditional formatting. So this is one way of solving it. You can think about more. Conditional formatting way, because there is a gradient option. Otherwise, there is a rule option. You can do the ruling, like if it is greater than or smaller than something. And how will you find out it for the highest, right? And in that case. So the third option that we have is field value. By using field value also you can try solving it. If you get time, I know this is festival period now, but if you get time solving to get like to practice, suppose over the weekend, in just in case, to try giving or try finding the answer for this highest value. I did it in my recent project at one place. Like it was dynamic and it was getting like there were different job posting. Like it should not reach to the certain level. So which month is we were getting the maximum value, something like that. I was calculating. Try exploring the field value concept. I guess field value से हो जाएगा ये solve. If we have an inactive relationship between the tables, how we can connect those tables? What have we talked about if it is about inactive relationship? What exactly these inactive relationships are? Where do you see the inactive relationships? Correct. Use relationship, or I guess use principal name. I guess use relationship only, है ना? So where do you see this inactive relationship? When does it happen? Right. So by default, when you try to create the model, it needs to have a one connection at a time between the two tables. But if those two connections, like if there are more than two connections, then in that case you will get the inactive relationship. So scenario happens like if there are these two tables, one table is, suppose let's call it as order, and this is suppose your date column. This is the like most common, and this is the place where like this function, this scenario is the most common scenario basically. So in your orders table, you have ship date, okay, you have order date, you have bill date. In this case, your order table is your fact table, and now your date column here is going to be your date table. Here is going to be a date like calendar table kind of, and in this date table you have only one date column. So in this case, it is only going to connect between one directly. Sorry, I supposed to use this in opposite way. Okay, so the date is only going to connect with the order date. Remaining everything, uh, do I have? So it is going to cover ship date and bill date also, but it will be inactive. They will not give us exact solid relationship. And to access ship date and bill date, we are supposed to use relationship function. So if you want to use ship date and bill date in some of your calculation, you don't want to use order date to be the first order date to be the default connection, suppose between the tables. So use relationship is going to help us achieve that. तो हम तीनों columns के साथ we have made the connection. Only with one connection it is going to be the constant, but remaining two will be inactive. But अगर उन inactive को you want to use as active one, तो use relationship is the function that you can use. Okay. What is append and what is necessary condition to append queries? So that we already have talked about. Now, append is we have understood. So number of columns and name of columns, that is, it is not written anywhere, but this is what these are the observations. Like if you don't have it correctly, then you are going to get the null. So इससे अच्छा you can follow this method. Like you can just figure out if you have the perfect number of columns and the name of the columns or not, and you will see the like bright result by using append. Okay, I guess this is your last question for today. What are the limitations of using direct query connection mode in your report? Is it the last question? Oh, that is the last question. Okay, so for direct query mode, what are the connections or what are the limitations that you think of? लिमिटेशन फर्स्ट वन तो मुझे लगता है कि इट डिपेंड्स ऑन योर इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी. If you don't, if you're not connected to your internet or your connections, it is not going to get the latest data. Performance wise also it is going to be a bit slower because of the same reason. We have to get the data on a runtime. That's why internet connectivity. So sometimes it is going to be giving us the performance issues. We don't get to use Power Query Editor. Also limited DAX also, right? We cannot use all the DAX functions available. Okay. So this can be your limitations when you are using Power Query Editor. So I will add this interview questions again, like in your folder that I have created on Google Drive. Okay. And I guess that is it for today's session. There are other PL300 questions also. डेटा मॉडलिंग रेस्ट्रिक्शंस तो नहीं है. डेटा मॉडलिंग में रेस्ट्रिक्शन क्या हो सकता है? ब्रीच टेबल वाला. लाइक इफ यू हैव मेनी टू मेनी रिलेशनशिप हैपनिंग, तो मेनी टू मेनी को रिजॉल्व करने के लिए जो ब्रीच टेबल होता है, ओनली एट दैट प्लेस यू विल फाइंड द रेस्ट्रिक्शन विद डेटा मॉडलिंग. बट अदरवाइज यू विल एबल टू सी द टेबल्स, सिमेटिक मॉडल पूरा दिखेगा, यू विल एबल टू कनेक्ट. Bridge table, you have to create it at your source location first and then take it and connect it in your Power BI desktop. But otherwise, it is just beginner portion. All right. So this is it for today's session. This is your interview question. I will check it out for more as per the PL300 or as per scenario based. On your Monday session, there is going to be a resume and LinkedIn optimization. So try attending the session if your resume you find it not to be at very a good level or not having a proper ATS score just in case. So attend that session on Monday. There will be no session tomorrow. And okay, have a happy Ganesh Chaturthi. Enjoy it with your family. It's a big day today. And thank you so much.